Ground ball. McLain, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz. Short lead for Pena. Larkin, do you believe this? It's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds. Swung on and hit deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it 5-4.
Goes to second one. Around to first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Karcher does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1.
Larkin down the line. It's a winning. It's a winning. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause, and the pitch. And a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Roy Dring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third. And this one belongs to the Reds.
That's hit pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
One on, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate. And this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. And Gil going back at the warning track. Oh, he gets one. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome on into the Chatterbox Reds Pregame Show for April 8th, 2025. We've got Game 2 of a 3-game set in San Francisco tonight. And Alex and I's first back-to-back show. We're lucky enough to be coming off a victory, so we've got some good stuff to talk about. But we also do have some roster moves that we're going to get into first before we get into the game last night. So, Alex,
Yep.
Want to tell us a little bit about these moves?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's kick it off. So, unfortunately, we lose Matt McLain to the 10-day IL, but really more of like the 7-day IL since we're retroactive him since Saturday. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday count. So it looks like based on everything, what we say, Sam, he'll be back possibly at the earliest next Monday. So we miss him for a couple days here, couple games, and then the Pittsburgh series. But we get our guy Will Benson back. We've all been clamoring for him. Obviously not the best situation, but we get Will Benson up here. They call up Noelvi Marte to essentially replace McLain, I guess, as an infielder. And then, of course, Carson Spiers down to Triple-A in anticipation for Andrew Abbott's season debut come Saturday.
Yeah, like you said, we hope to see Abbott up, good to go by Saturday. Spiers was a little bit surprising to me, at least, to see him sitting down. Bringing up 2 hitters or bringing up, two hitters for a pitcher and sending the pitcher down. So that was a little bit surprising for me. But, the McLain injury is listed as a slight hamstring strain. So it seems like they're, if anything, just being cautious with them. I know Charlie Goldsmith said he hasn't really seen the word slight kind of mentioned before the hamstring. So, the main concern with him is probably running, like you said yesterday. I know his bat's probably good enough to be in the lineup, but you really just hope this is a precautionary move to kind of get – and Marte and Benson have been swinging the bat great, so you like to see them kind of get called up, seeing the ball well. But what do you think about Noelvi Marte being called up? I know a lot of people – everyone seems to like Will Benson being called up, but fan base seems to be kind of split in half with Marte. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to keep in mind the players, they're people. So my guess, just from seeing what he's been hitting close to 400 at Triple-A, is something must have clicked for this guy. He got his confidence back. You don't know what happened on the backfields after he was cut from the opening day team in spring training. So there's a multitude of things that could have happened. The Reds front office, they have their eyes on the guys down there. So I trust the team in calling him up. What's interesting is with both Benson and Marte is how much time are they going to get to play? Does Marte take Candelario's spot as the everyday third baseman? Or is he relegated to a bench bat? And you touched on it earlier. When Abbott gets called back up Saturday, who gets sent down? I think Marte's on the chopping block.
Yeah. Main thing for me, it's just two guys who have been seeing the ball great. They're both batting, 350 plus, 900 OPSs. So it's better than what we've got here at the big league roster, at least with Candelario and, Espinal kind of. Marte, you'd love to see him replace Candelario at third, like you said. That's kind of best case scenario right now, I think. He provides a little bit more than what Candelario has been showing you. Not a lot of bat speed coming from him, not a lot of power. So I know Marte's been hitting the ball really hard. Doesn't have a home run to show for it, but you're just looking for good at bats, and not sure if they'll be available tonight. I assume not, because if they were, they'd be in the lineup. You'd assume they're taking the flight here to San Francisco, but I'd expect at least Benson to be in the lineup tomorrow. I think you've got Verlander, so you've got Blake Dunn batting second right now, so who knows if Benson might slide into that, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know how many direct flights there are from Louisville or Omaha to San Francisco, and quite frankly, I don't think Bob C is sending his private jet to go get those boys. So my assumption is, to your point, they're probably just made it. They probably weren't prepped ready for the game.
Yeah.
But still, it makes it that much more strange. When did they get the call? When did they start moving this direction or out to San Francisco? I guess they're not coming back home to Cincinnati. But it is interesting. Does Benson take that left field spot on a day in and day out? Obviously, like you mentioned, the left-handed bat against Verlander tomorrow. And the Marte is just interesting. They could have called up Callahan. They could have called up really, that would be Marte or Callahan to take that infield spot. Or heck, they could have taken another outfielder, Hines, and then pushed Lux into an everyday second base role. So my assumption is they know that Marte's here for at least a while if he performs. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. I guess what it comes down to, Sam, I'm hoping that Marte is here to stay, because I'm buying all the Marte stock I can.
Yeah, either way, you got a lot of options, good or bad options. You just have a lot of them. So, but moving towards kind of last night's game, you got some good news to talk about with Hunter Green. The Reds win 2-0 and hand the Giants their second loss of the year, both coming against the Reds. So, what did you see last night from Hunter Green and kind of the whole game in general?
My favorite part of Hunter Green's start last night was, I'll let you touch on the pitches. I'll let you touch on, the whole pitching mechanics and how well he did hitting his spots. But
yeah,
my favorite part of the night last night was when he got fired up talking to Jim Day about the glove.
Yeah.
He did not like the glove being taken away. And I thought that was pretty funny after the fact. He said he wanted to be politically correct with his response, but he was going to go talk to Major League Baseball about it. So, you know what? I mean, you think about since he's been with the Reds, drafted in 2017 to now, honestly, he's everything we ever wanted right now. You just hope he can stay healthy, and hope the Reds can hit for him, right? We hit enough last night, but like we mentioned last night, they don't give him much run support. But he's fantastic. I mean, he right now, he's going to be a top 5 Cy Young this year, no doubt. He's on track for that, definitely. And with the glove thing, I don't know if it's nitpicking or what it is, but I feel like that kind of set the tone for him for the night. It kind of got him a little ticked off, I feel like. And then first at bat, he got a first pitch out. And then I think from that point on, he was really just locked in the whole rest of the game. Every pitch he was commanding well, especially his slider. You know, his fastball velocity has been up this whole year. I think his 88th pitch, he hit 101 in the 9th. But yeah, I also saw I don't have any stats to show for it, but it just seemed like he was using that splitter a lot more, especially against lefties. You know, to have that third pitch, that out pitch to kind of get lefties out that doesn't really move away from them, but doesn't move in like a slider would. That's huge. But he was commanding all 3 pitches. He was painting the corners on the fastball, and his slider was just completely dominant. I think it's safe to say this is the best we've seen Hunter Green in his career. I don't even think that's a bold take. It's the longest outing he's had at 8 2/3. He got the first 2 outs in the 9th, and then gave up that single to Lee, and then the walk to Chapman. So he was just completely dominant. And you know, Santillan when he came in, I don't think he didn't pitch great. You know, his fastball he was yanking it a little bit, but Herbie's kind of bailed him out there. So it's just great to validate Green starts with a win. The offense still didn't look great, but all it took was a timely hit from Blake Dunn to get him some run support. So, and you know what though, Sam, that's what baseball is. You know, and you think about the first inning, Ellie hits a 110 exit velocity single straight to Yastrzemski and right center field. He was inches away from not cutting that off. If that gets past Yastrzemski, that's at least a triple, and the inning changes. Now, granted, luck still got out, and the inning was over. But baseball is it's a funny game, and sometimes all it takes is the team to, you know, put a guy in who can't find the strike zone, load the bases, and then your fourth outfielder gets a hit down the right field line. So yeah, win's a win. I'll take one timely hit over 10 bloop singles that lead to nothing. You leave runners stranded up. Absolutely. Like you said, here's a real quick question here. Just gonna throw it in here. We got it from X from Braden. So Carson Spiers is our insurance in Triple-A. When Louder and Burns are ready, do we move Spiers to the bullpen and say bye to Jabot or Mole? Any thoughts on that? I'll let you go first. That's definitely interesting. You know, I don't know. I think we'll definitely see Louder this year. I know a lot of people want to see Burns, but you just never know. So I don't want to guarantee seeing both of them. But of those two, Jabot and Mole, you know, Mole hasn't looked great, but I think just having that lefty option in the bullpen is something you want to see. He's been pretty good in his last couple of years with the Reds, so I don't want to give up on him too early. But you know, of those two, I would probably send Jabot down. You've got enough righties. You've got Santillan throwing the ball really good. You've got Ashcraft. You've got Pagan, Barlow, all those guys. So that's definitely an interesting point, but I think that's definitely a question for further down the road. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. And normally I would say move your best, you know, let's go all in and just our best pitchers on the roster. I think Spiers is good insurance just to have in Triple-A. So I don't think that he's even in the same category as Louder and Burns. Now I would say Burns potentially. I'm not saying this. Burns potentially, if you're in a playoff hunt, do you throw him in the bullpen just as to slam it? Kind of like the Rays did back in the day with David Price when he was their first overall pick. But I think we're a ways away from that, but I saw the question. I thought it was interesting to throw that one out there. But Spiers, to me, is great AAA insurance. He's never going to be anything more than a fifth starter in the major leagues anyway at this point. So, Sam, what's next on our list here?
Yeah, what do you say we get into tonight's game, dig into the lineup a little bit?
Let's hit it.
Same same first 7, and then really the same whole lineup, actually. You just got Jake Fraley instead of Hurtubise, and then you got Dunn in left, Fraley in right. But against the righty again, like we kind of covered it yesterday, you're not going to see a whole bunch of switching the lineups. Francona likes to keep guys in those spots.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to Ellie third, Friedel first. He doesn't really – if there's someone he has to sub out, he likes to sub him into that spot. Like with McLain missing, Dunn's kind of fits into the second spot. But, you're just going to have to – timely hits is the main thing for me. Like Blake Dunn getting that hit yesterday, it's just huge. Coming from the fourth outfielder, I guess, not right now. But, yeah, what about you, Alex?
Yeah, you know what? We looked at our pregame to the pregame show, just chatting about the pitcher that we're facing tonight. Not even going to try to pronounce the last name, but the fifth starter for the Giants. He walked 4 guys last.
I think we're going with Roop.
Roop.
Yeah, we'll go with Roop.
Pitcher Roop. He walked 4 guys last game. So just like last night, work the counts for the guys in the lineup. Work the counts, get on base. And then, we get a shot. Anytime you can get on base, whether it's a walk, hit by pitch, obviously a hit, you're just throwing them off the their game plan. And that's all we can do. And last night, one of my things coming out of last night, I think got hidden, was Spencer Steer had a line drive down the right field line last night. Back-to-back games with him with hits. I think he could be coming back around. Hopefully, maybe soon could play the field, much to some of our fans and other Chatterbox hosts' dismay.
Yeah, great swings from Steer, like you said. Kind of going back to Roop, he did have 4 walks in just 4 innings, but 8 strikeouts in those 4 innings. So I think, getting to him early, running the counts. He seems like he's kind of a high pitch count guy with 8 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Mm-hmm.
Also 3 earned runs against the Astros. So, get to him early. He's their 5th starter. Not even supposed to be their 5th starter kind of going into the season. They had in a perfect world, no injuries. They have Kyle Harrison slotting in there, young lefty. But, he's kind of their Carson Spiers, I'd say. They kind of slot him in when they need to, but you'd really like to pick this one up with Lodolo on the mound, kind of our second guy going up against their last. But
100%. I think someone on Chatterbox Reds a few nights ago, Trace brought it up, was how do we do a little a mismatch or a yin to the yang? And this is a great example. How different teams set their rotations. We have Lodolo against Roop, and you got to take advantage of these games.
Yeah.
Like I said last night, don't let us win last night, because I'm confident in tonight. And then, in the words of Kevin Millar, anything can happen in Game 3.
That is correct. I love the positivity. Kind of going into the Giants lineup, they've got Ramos slotting in at leadoff tonight. He's been great against the Reds all year, and he's even better against lefties. Last year, he killed lefties. It was, I think, over 100 at bats. He hit 370, and obviously Lodolo on the bump tonight. It's going to be a tough out, but he had that really hard hit there at the end. But other than that, he didn't do much last night. But I think he's going to be kind of he's the one that scares me most in their lineup. But facing a lefty, obviously, Adames is going to be worrisome for Lodolo. Mm-hmm. He scares me too. He hasn't hit a home run this year, and he's been one of the most feared Reds killers of all time. So it seems like he's kind of due. But I believe Patrick Bailey is not catching that. They've got Sam Huff, so that's also notable. Huff has got a decent arm, but with Bailey, he's either he's top 3 in throwing runners out in the MLB, no doubt. So look for the Reds to run tonight. Hopefully Ellie can get on, and not only get on, but kind of show us some power. We haven't seen a home run since I believe that 14-run outburst from Ellie. Yep. So I'd love to see him get going a little bit more, especially with McLain kind of, for sure, he's not going to be playing. He's on the IL. So I really love Ellie to step up tonight and kind of anchor that offense.
Yeah, I mean, really, at this point, we talked about it. We need McLain. We need McLain. We need McLain. But obviously, we're out. So we need him to step up for the next 10 games. Let's make sure we have McLain for the rest of the year. One thing I mentioned, and we didn't really talk enough about McLain early on. So let me touch on it quickly. I have a working theory with Francona. Is a lot of these guys, and you heard it again a little bit on, I'm going to plug another podcast, the Jim Day podcast with Emilio Pagan. Mm-hmm. He was battling through a lot of injuries last year that kind of was from prior, before the Reds signed him. It sounded like, and it was just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But what's interesting to me is you hear all these guys. Steer was one last year. I believe Stevenson offhand. Pagan, and McLain, whoever.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is this year is Francona says, full stop, boys. We are not even playing. We're going to get you healthy. The buck stops with me. I'm not letting you, run the show. I run the show. We're doing what's best for the team and for you. And sometimes playing these guys at 50%, 75% is not the best thing. So we needed a guy like that to step in and do it. So that's what I think is going on here. Maybe that's just the optimistic person in me. But I think going forward, that's kind of what we can tell. Hopefully, once McLain comes back next Tuesday, cross our fingers, Hayes is on the way, and then Stevenson not far behind as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Hayes, and we haven't really gotten into him much. He's a huge boost for, especially against lefties, kind of hitting there behind Ellie. Stevenson as well against lefties. So we've got definitely some help on the way coming from the injured list. But
so real quick on that, if we have time.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of an IL show, a little pregame IL show.
Yeah.
Hayes comes back. Correct me if I'm wrong. They were targeting that, right?
Yeah.
That date, that Monday time frame.
Right.
Or that Tuesday, excuse me. Tuesday. Does that play into who stays and goes when Abbott comes up Saturday? I guess we'll tell. Because you're getting another outfielder.
Yeah.
How long? And I'm not sure if Hayes needs to go on rehab assignment or what have you, but that's going to play into the roster decision.
Yeah, and I think if I was in control of this, which I'm obviously not, you kind of stick Fraley on that phantom IL because, I mean, he just hasn't shown you much. Yeah, and I don't really think you want to send him down to shoot his confidence even more. But phantom IL for Fraley, kind of how kind of suspected with what they did with Diaz, kind of just didn't do great in spring. So they kind of give him some time, put him on the IL, let him get rolling. I think that'd be kind of a good idea with Fraley. Just give him a little break and obviously get Hayes up.
Absolutely. And maybe that's a swap they do, but time will tell.
Yeah, we will see. I think they're kind of shooting for that Mariners series at home, like you said, Tuesday. Hopefully we get McLain back there, and who knows on Hayes. I think Stevenson's going to be a little bit longer, but we shall see. Something we haven't touched on is bullpen availability. Alex, who do you kind of expect to see out of the bullpen tonight? And who do you expect?
I hope Brent Suter pitches 2 innings in the 8th and 9th when the Reds are leading 10-2. But
that's where I thought you were going with that one.
Obviously with last night, no one pitched. So or Santillan, I'm sure he's available. But Pagan's kind of the guy I've been relying on this year too. I think Francona really trusts him. Obviously, Santillan's in that list. I'm not totally against Jabot either.
Yeah.
But to me, it's probably going to be Pagan. Obviously, the first out, he seems to be really the one that's trusted. Suter, probably not. But
yeah, and especially with Lodolo on the mound, you got a lefty. You kind of expect a righty to come in there. Like you said, Pagan.
If it's a tight game, I think it'll be Ashcraft and Pagan. That's my guess. And then Barlow's been used quite a bit in some high leverage situations.
Yeah, I kind of expect Barlow to be that first guy out of the bullpen. That's kind of how they used him. And then Santillan did only get one out last night, but I wouldn't rely on him coming in. He's been great for them, but he didn't throw much, but I still wouldn't rely. But yeah, Ashcraft, Pagan, Rogers even. He's got his brother on the other side, the submarine pitcher, Tyler. So we got a relatively healthy bullpen as of now. They've been decent, but you'd like to see a little bit more from, guys like Ashcraft. Pagan's look great, but Rogers, kind of those main guys you kind of expected heading into the season. You'd like to see some more out of them. Alex, what do you got as keys for tonight to get another victory and a series win?
Yeah, I'd like to see Lodolo repeat what he did his last outing. Obviously, to me, he's very feast or famine. Not 100% sold on Lodolo, but obviously he's been injured as well. So it's a guy that when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off. But we've been mentioning it. We mentioned it last time. We mentioned it again tonight. Pitching, timely hitting. That's baseball at the end of it. And we got it last night, and let's just repeat it today.
Yeah, and with Lodolo, his main thing, just command, limit the walks. His last time out against the Brewers, he had 0 walks, and that was one of his best starts we've seen out of him. He went sick, no earned runs, no walks is just huge out of him. He's been a little bit wild in his short career with the Reds, but if he can command, trust the defense behind him, and then hopefully get some run support, obviously that is the recipe for a win tonight. And Alex, I believe
you mentioned it real quick there, just trusting the guys behind him. I'm looking at his stats from last game. I believe last game he against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it was against the Giants. Against the Giants on that Saturday game, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 2, but he only struck out 1. I was at that game, and in fact, I realized that I was not going to get free pizza pretty quickly into the game. So, by the way, for those who haven't been to a game this year, want to shout out sponsor for Off the Bench, UDF. Their sponsorship at the games this year is if a player gets a triple, you get a free triple scoop ice cream at UDF.
Oof.
Which that to me that's a fantastic promotion if we played in San Francisco.
Yeah, I was just about to say not the best park for that deal to be in. But
well, I mean for UDF it's great.
Yeah, but you do have Ellie De La Cruz on your roster, so
hey,
anything can happen with
anytime. He's a threat anytime. But we sat and rooted for a triple the whole game, and we walked away empty-handed with no pizza and no UDF ice cream.
Yeah. All right, Alex, to end the stream, you got a little Reds nugget for us?
Yeah. So last night we ended with this day in Reds history. Seems like April 8th is a boring day in Reds history. But I wanted to do a little Reds-Giants connection. So in 2005, the Reds signed as a free agent infielder and Giants legend Rich Aurelia to a 1-year contract, and then re-signed him again for 2006. He shared the infield with Reds legend Felipe Lopez as the shortstop, replacing our current announcer Barry Larkin. After the 2006 season, Rich Aurelia left the Reds and re-signed with the Giants, but Aurelia's season with the Reds was so good in 2006, Sam, that the Reds got a draft pick compensation for him in 2007. Real quick question for you. Can you name the Reds draft pick from 2007? Very popular Reds player.
2007?
2007 Reds draft pick.
Pitcher or hitter?
Hitter, and had one of the best moments in Great American Ballpark history.
Jay Bruce?
Close.
That's a little too late, I think, for Bruce. I'm
And,
gonna need
and if anyone in the chat knows, feel free to shout it out.
Let's see those comments.
I see one comment. It is not Joey Votto.
Little
Joey
late
Votto
for
drafted in 2002.
Uh-oh.
Nick Kirby. Todd Frazier was drafted with the draft pick compensation for Rich Aurelia. So I know a few days ago the guys, one of our shows was talking about the Reds' best draft pick. You know, Nick Castellanos netted us a high prospect, but hey, a low-level free agent, Rich Aurelia, netted us a home run derby champ and a great all-time Red and Todd Frazier. So a good Reds, Giants nugget just want to throw out there.
Yeah, dropping all the Reds knowledge on us here on April 8th. Like you said, nothing notable on April 8th. Well, let's make tonight notable. What do you say? Get the first series win of the season. Let's hopefully get rolling here.
You went too low, Sam. Nick Lodolo's first career no-hitter tonight on April 8th.
Perfect game. Let's go even higher. Well, we got 9 o'clock here, so that's going to do it for our show tonight. We've got Alex predicting a no-hitter from Nick Lodolo. So I don't know if that's a little shooting too high, but if it happens, this is going to go down as one of the greatest shows, I think, of all time. But, yeah, that's going to do it for us tonight. Alex, got anything else for us?
Go Reds. And let's take the series.
Let's do it. Let's get our first this year. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button. Helps us out a bunch. But, yep, go Reds. Let's get a series win and get some momentum.
Let's go.